Sorry about 906. Bases dropped on a new round of Soccer's morning show here on the SDH Network. Cutting track for the Twos review that'll be coming out after the show this morning as we get you ready for everything across the board. Atlanta United 2 last night had their last home match. Last round of action at the Fraction in 2024. A tough 1-0 loss to Inter Miami CF2. Baby Herons, Messi and Friends 2. However you want to put it. Loss for Atlanta United 2. In MLS Next Pro last night. You can go back and listen to that game. Jason and Maddie with your pre and your post and your halftime and all the things in the Atlanta United 2 Inter Miami CF2 match from last night. You go back to our Mixler channel, soccerdownhere.mixler.com, and you can catch up with the match in and of itself. Twos review coming up once again after this show is over this morning. Maddie caught up with Javi Armas and head coach Steve Cook. You get your highlights, you get your perspective, you get to find out where Atlanta United 2 is in MLS Next Pro and how they can end up as a spoiler for Philadelphia Union 2. Atlanta United 2 just with the one match left. That is this Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, 3:03 kick in Chester, Pennsylvania. Weather permitting, I guess, at this point, and turf permitting. We can get into the AFC Wimbledon situation here on the show this morning. Also, once again, remember, 2:30 kick. 2:30 pregame, 3:03 kick here on the SDH Network at soccerdownhere.mixler.com. And it's the regular season finale for Atlanta United 2. First and foremost, before we get into anything else involving the Twos and the news and everything else that's going on, I just want to, and I know that Jason and Maddie have had the chance to as well in person. I just want to thank Atlanta United 2 for everything that they've been able to do with us this season. Obviously, we're not done with it in an off-season perspective because the first team still's got some space to run. But to be able to tell the stories and share them with you the way that we've been able to, the access has been fantastic. So I can't thank Atlanta United 2 enough and everybody in communications department with Atlanta United so we can tell these stories. And so big thanks to the Twos. And Will Jarrett, our man in communications with the Twos specifically, Chris Winkler, Chris Ramondi, and everybody in communications on the first team helping us out with these things. And so great to be able to tell the stories with the Twos all season long. We're not done, obviously, but we'll keep telling the stories. But last night was the last home match. Great to see everybody there who was in Kennesaw at the Fraction last night. By the way, you can buy your action at the Fraction gear at our store. Go to soccerdownhere.net, go on to click on just down a little bit, click on the banner for the store, and then you can go and get your action at the Fraction gear and show your support for the venue, for the Twos, and for SDH. By the way, did you know that the SDH Network is in contention for a football content award? I don't think, did you know that? Did you? Did you know this? Well, and even if you did, we're probably going to be telling folks a lot between now and October 13th. The way that it works, once again, and thanks to everybody who has voted so far, and if you would spread the word, you guys would be amazing. I think I've got to do that in the Discord. Go to footballcontentsawards.com/voting. We are in as a finalist in the broadcaster category for the 2024 Football Content Awards. It is mind-blowing that we are a finalist in the broadcaster category in 2024. It was stunning when the word came out earlier this week. So in broadcaster rights holder, best media organization, you want to talk David and Goliath? Here's the chance to grab your slingshot and your stone, people. Amazon Prime Video, BBC Sport, CBS Sports Golazo Network, DAZN, ESPN FC, ITV, Sky, TalkSport, TNT, which used to be BT Sport before a buyout, and us. I'm not kidding. Time to grab your slingshot and your stone, people. Voting is until October 13th, dinner time, our time. So basically when Big Ben chimes midnight overseas on the 13th, that's when voting's over. So dinner time, October 13th is when the voting is over. 50% of the vote is the human component. And thanks to our friends, I think it's at 5 Takes, who said, Atlanta, you know what to do. And it's been very humbling to see the outreach from all of the organizations and all of the groups that either listen to content, make content, do content that have, that have kind of waved the flag and pointed it in our direction. So that's been very humbling as well ever since the information came out Monday afternoon. But yeah, best media organization finalist 2024. 50% is the judging component. Peter Drury is one of the judges, by the way. So 50% judges component, 50% people component. And this is where the people come into play. Footballcontentawards.com /voting or /voting. I think it's /voting. But yeah, footballcontentawards.com. You go there, it says like meet the finalists, and then there's a voting thing. And so the awards themselves, once again, October 13th is when the people version shuts down. People voting stops October 13th. Then I guess they tally things up, and then they let you know. Maybe they let you know if you're a final finalist or not. But the awards are at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London on the Thursday week to the day before Thanksgiving, like the 21st of November. So, yeah, let's turn this into Cook County politics and make Chicago proud. Vote, 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 vote. Find different computers, find different IP addresses, stuff the ballot box. Like I said, as Five Take said, ATL, you know what to do. But no, it has been humbling to hear that news first and foremost for all of us at STH. And they're like, "Well, are you coming?" And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, they give us emails. It's like, "Okay, can we put you down for this, 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 and this?" And I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, it'd be nice to, but it ain't cheap flying to London. We can't just pack up we can't just pack up and go. So maybe can you give us a hint, like in mid to late October, like a month out, if we need to come. So yes, vote, 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 vote. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, vote, 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 vote until October 13th. Pass the word. And I don't need this today. I don't need like goofy signal cutouts today. Tyler's going to be joining us here in a sec. And we put out the bat signal for Dylan Butler and Marion Crowder. Hopefully they can join us, people permitting and real world permitting and things like that. Hopefully Dylan can join us at 10, talk about the rest of MLS. Marion can drop by hopefully at 10:30. She might have had her morning soccer practice completed. And then we can talk to Marion hopefully about Super League and what's going on in the SEC. So that is the plan this morning. But yeah, we needed to continue to promote that. Footballcontentawards.com /voting. So vote, 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 vote until October 13th. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time that it might get a little obnoxious reminding everybody about voting and all of this stuff. But man, just saying. So it's 9:15. And we know what that means on a Walpass Wednesday, a Walpassian Wednesday. It means one thing. We get to find out what's in the man's mug and see if he is straight up PIMP in his own mug. I know he's PIMP in his lid because he's wearing it. So are you pimping the mug too, Tyler?
Not the mug today. It's just me, Mando, and Baby Yoda this morning.
Okay. All right, I'm down with folks' appreciations for those kinds of things. I am not a person of that universe, but I do appreciate folks that dive into these kinds of things and they are full bore and hell on wheels when it comes to seeing. See, now I couldn't even keep track of the timelines and the family tree and what matters and who's aiming in what direction. See, that's the big thing for me. It's like I couldn't even keep track of, Anakin. Where is he over here? Is he over here? Who? It has turned into like days of our Tatooine.
Yeah, look, I am obsessed and have been. Yes,
Well, but
Alex,
people are, and
Grogu is his own person,
I get that.
as is Din Djarin. But I just knowing John and knowing how out of tune with the universe. No,
Yeah,
I
knowing
don't want to be like Grogu, and he's gonna be like, "What?"
yeah, basically, yes.
But no.
Isn't Grogu like the little mini Yoda?
Yeah, that's Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, look, I get it. I know that folks are just that's their thing, and it's like, when's the next episode coming out? I get that. No, but yeah, if you were to ask me about any of the main characters, short of like Boba Fett and maybe Grogu, and is the shame nun? Is she banging the gong or anything like that? I mean, that's
Are you into the Marvel universe at all?
no, I am not.
Okay. Well, then I'll skip what I was about to say.
Wow, well, why?
No. I was gonna say because the Marvel universe is so well written in terms of like everything tying together in some way, shape, or form, right?
Thank you.
You'll have Easter eggs in different movies and shows and cameos. They've started over the past few years doing that with Star Wars as well, and
Okay.
I'm one of those that I just enjoy it all, even if the show is bad because it's Star Wars. I'll watch it.
Even if the writing sucks, I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch.
but you've got some genuinely good shows, like for people that don't care about Star Wars. There's some really good ones out there. Mandalorian being one of them.
Okay, so that's the 1980s car with the gull wing doors, Back to the Future, right? The
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
Mandalorian. Okay, just checking. Um, it, Tyler's with us here on a Wednesday, and so traditionally, like I said, it's Wall Pass Wednesday. So basically, it's whatever's on all of our collective minds, and I know that we can advance reporting when it comes to Atlanta United, but let's go back to the match in and of itself and look at what went down with it. We had Bart on Monday to discuss reffing down here, and the move. I guess we'll work backwards with it.
All
So
right.
you end up with a move that would make Australian rules football fans proud, and going over the top of Pedro Amador late, and it creates a goal situation that's your equalizer at 2-2. Bart didn't think that there was a foul there. Obviously, I did, considering that, I don't know, you're climbing over somebody and you end up squashing them in the buildup of the play. Jason on the broadcast thought there was, from the angles that you've been able to watch in real time and then taking a couple of days, what did you think about the equalizer for Red Bulls going up against the twos against Atlanta United 2 that tied it at 2? Atlanta United that tied it at 2.
It's to me, it's a foul, but I also have seen it be called either way.
Mm-hmm.
Either way. I think the biggest thing to me that points to it being a foul is you can't use somebody's shoulders as a step stool, like at all. I know we see it all the time. There's the jostling and kind of vying for position and, trying to jump and get a little bit of leverage. And it does happen often, right? Like somebody's going to use somebody else to get that extra little bit of up. But he looked like the 5-year-old that's trying to like climb out of the pool, right? Like off the side without using the ladder, using Pedro Amador's shoulders as the edge of the pool, or trying to climb up on the kitchen counter. Like you can't do that. And yeah, to me, it was a foul. But again, it's not one I lost sleep over because I mean, I've seen it go either way. We all have, right? We've seen it happen either way. I really think it should have been checked more than it was, but I don't know. It just seems part of the curse. It's part of the curse. Like, just the team has this almost supernatural way of giving up a lead, a very important lead, shortly after they get it, and it's like a cosmic joke at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a foul. To answer the question simply, yeah, it was a foul. But what I think doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, I mean, Pedro Amador being used as a Warner ladder, like they would see at the Final Four, and the coach and the players going to cut the parts of the net after you win a championship. So,
Yep.
so it ends up being 2-2, and then Edwin Mosquera, who comes in, and I know a lot of folks were sitting there going, why are you bringing in, Edwin at that point of the match? And traditionally for me, when I see Edwin coming in late in the match, whenever that is, I don't care if it's the 60th, the 70th, or 112th, Edwin's in there to run people into the ground, and you got instant results from Just Add Water. It's Edwin Mosqueda in your Scarves and Spikes mug. Just add water, and you get the results that you hope for occasionally.
Yeah. He came in, and yeah, I agree with you. I think he's one of those that you want him to just go at tired legs, period. He's going to be vertical. He might cough up possession occasionally, but he's going to
Yeah.
he's going to go towards the end line and towards goal. And he's tried that similar kind of sequence in that shot in the past, and he hasn't been as clean with it. But when I saw him kind of cut to his right foot, I thought, just take the shot, and then he did. And to be fair, like when that came off his foot, I thought, no, it's going wide. And it didn't. It was a perfect shot. I mean, what was it like? I don't even know. Just over a minute after he came onto the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him. Good for him, And I literally, it was funny because I had tweeted it out moments before. I said, man, it would be so nice if the offense would just give Brad something, because he saved them again. And he deserves to win this game. He deserves to get something back for keeping his team in the game, because it wasn't just the penalty. It was a lot, right? And then Edwin Mosquera comes on and does that. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But since we're going backwards in the timeline, we already know what happens next.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I mean, good for him. He's I think he needs that for his confidence. He's kind of been so up and down with. He had the injury earlier this season. There was just, he's had so many things. Being a sub can be difficult because it's hard to find a rhythm.
Yeah, you got
to come on and you do something like that, and it was, it was a banger of a goal, and I'm happy for him.
Banger. Then obviously discounting the Red Bulls' first goal, you end up with, and I guess the next topic in general is the continued integration of Alexei Miranchuk into the offense and how he's becoming more and more comfortable. Saw it at Mercedes-Benz with the late effort, and he's the one who is wanting to bring in all of his teammates at Mercedes-Benz after the goal is scored. He's the guy who's sitting there saying, okay, guys, let's get into a huddle and let's all celebrate together. And then he's the one, after the goal is scored and you've celebrated together, he's the one motioning everybody back to the line late to try to get everything done back at Mercedes-Benz. But you just continue to see with what happened at Red Bulls, how Alexei Miranchuk is continuing to integrate, make himself feel at home, be a part of that offense, and show that imagination that we saw in the YouTube videos. And it's like, yeah, huddle and Alexei Miranchuk. You go huddle, like, but yeah, the YouTube videos, the greatest hits, you got to see that, and you get to see it once again with another match under his belt at Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal at the Benz, especially considering it was a fully open Benz, and you had just the crowd was hyped up, and to talk about the crowd at that game for a minute, I was actually really impressed. Obviously you're going to have a lot of people show up for Messi.
Never heard.
I know, right? Who's that guy?
Yeah,
who? It didn't feel like the majority of fans showed up to support Messi.
Yeah,
I think it felt almost just like, hey, this is possibly a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. Let's go see the greatest player of all time, whether we're cheering for him or not. Like, you have to appreciate who he is. So he comes out, obviously, and, does his little break dancing warm up thing, and everybody goes crazy. And it was funny to see. The Benz, though, was very much an Atlanta crowd, which I thought was great. And it felt good in that place. And when Miranchuk scored that goal, I think it kind of unlocked a little bit of the confidence that, we've been wanting to see in the very short time that he's been here. And Rob kind of alluded to it after the goal, at the press conference. He said, now everybody has seen what this kid can do and what we see in practice all the time. And he's just continuing to integrate himself into the team. And it just feels like, he can now say, all right, I've gotten in, I've gotten involved. I've earned the respect, I think, of the team, definitely the fans. And now it's time to take that next step. And, when things aren't going our way and there isn't anybody on the field that's maybe stepping up as a leader or whatever, I want to bring this team, I don't want to say back to earth, but let's keep level headed and go and try to get the next one. And they did in the Miami game. They did. And then of course the Red Bulls game, it's a tough way to end it, but you fought, right? Like it wasn't like you just gave up. It was unfortunate the way that it ended, but you had a much better, I think, mindset going into the end of that match.
Yeah, and so obviously it ends up 2-2. You end up with all of the post week discussion after that, and so right now, once again, as chaos rules and continues in the Eastern Conference, and like I said, we talked about it with Atlanta United 2 before you came on, where the twos can be a spoiler for Union 2 on Sunday afternoon. Right now, at the standings in the East, Atlanta United is still a part of the group of chaos. I mean, now that it has shifted a little bit because of folks coming back to the mean, but you have 2, 4, 6 teams separated by that many points. And for those who only get to listen to us, I'm holding up 3 fingers. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all separated by 3 points. Toronto with 11 wins, Philadelphia with 9. Montreal with 34 points. They're below the playoff bar, 30 matches played. Then you end up with Atlanta, Nashville, same record, but Atlanta with a far better goal difference. And then D.C., who got absolutely thumped, boat raced, taken out to the woodshed with the whooping stick, however you want to phrase it, by Philly, who is doing this year's guest spot of Seattle, where it was usually Zombie Sounders and now it's Zombie Union, who now they're into the playoff discussion. So the chaos that we knew is there. That's just in a different form, and it's at the bottom for the folks wanting to get in the Eastern Conference. When you look at this chaos, what do you see?
I mean, to me, the thing that stands out, that's I think the frustrating aspect of it is for Atlanta. If you were to go beat Philly this weekend, who has scored 9 goals in 2 games, you go beat Philly in Philly or Chester, you're still the best you could do this weekend if things go your way is 10th, and that's frustrating. Oh, and that's because of goal differential. Because you would essentially be tied with Philly in points, but those 9 goals in the past couple of games have really screwed with the goal differential. But I think, we've been saying it all season, it's a dogfight. Like it was mostly consistent closer to the top of the conference for most of the season, but you've had the handful that have pulled away from the crowd, and now it's just chaos in the bottom. And so, Nashville's doing their little thing of trying to creep up. The fact that you've got 3 teams literally at 33 points right now is crazy. It's anybody's game, really. I think that's all you can say about it. It really is anybody's game. It's going to come down to who wants it more. And, like we did MLS Monday this past Monday, obviously.
I was going to ask you about this, but yes.
Yeah. Which was great, kind of talking over things. And you have some teams that have some very unfavorable final, 4 matches or so. You have Toronto, which, you have, pretty much everybody has a game in hand on them. But it's going to come down to ultimately who wants it more. Like Atlanta's got, an up and down kind of schedule. The Philly game is tough, but it's not a schedule you can't do something with, right? You're not going to play Columbus or Miami anymore. You're not going to play pretty much anybody at the top except for Orlando, if you want to consider them, the top, but they're kind of floundering a little bit. So yeah, it's just who wants it the most? Who wants it the most?
Tyler Pilgrim hanging out with us from Scarves and Spikes. And I was going to ask in general about how the Monday show went with all of the discussion that we're having. What was immediate reaction? Is it still people bang? Was it still people banging their heads against the side doors and the door frames and things like that, or what was it for fans Monday night? I mean, I know that what it was like for us on Monday morning. What was it like on Monday night? Had things evened out? Where was the keel when you guys came on Monday night?
Uh, honestly, yeah, it evened out a little bit because I think if you were to go back and have this same situation last year, even or a couple of years ago, you would you would have, I think, most fans a lot more frustrated because it's like that's not what this team should do. But
Right.
unfortunately, like Atlanta has demonstrated a lot over the past year and a little more, just this inability to hold leads. And so I think everybody thought, man, if you get that first ever win in Red Bull Arena, that would be a historic moment. And that's just like, kind of like the icing on the cake. But then it didn't go down that way, right? It ended up being a draw, and it kind of brought everybody back down to, dang, apathy again, you know?
Well, and there is a difference between anger, frustration, and apathy.
Yes, there is.
And so is it on the Monday night side, was it apathy? Was it anger? Which element of the emotional scale was it?
I mean, obviously there's the anger and sadness emotions for
Mhm,
sure. Are you drinking a 2 liter of Mountain Dew?
mhm.
That's phenomenal.
I forgot my cup this morning, and
That
so
is awesome.
it I
Not to
have
call you out, but that's impressive.
no, that's perfectly fine. No, it's like I thought I had a cup down here, but, I think last night when I was wrapping up everything, writing a column and getting everything ready for Tu's review, it's like I think I took all of the cups and put them in the dishwasher, so, yeah, this is all I'm stuck with this morning,
I'm
so,
all
yeah.
jacked up on Mountain Dew. I love it.
Hey, man, I mean, it's here, and honestly, to be perfectly honest, full disclosure, I could have this and fall straight to sleep. I drink this for the taste, I don't drink it for the
That's how I am
caffeine.
with coffee. Like the caffeine in coffee doesn't do much for
Yeah,
me other
yeah,
than make me feel good in the morning. But
yeah.
like I could drink a cup at midnight and go to sleep.
Mhm, but yeah, literally, it is straight out of the 2 liter this morning. It is
I like it.
straight up
That's impressive.
straight up hardcore.
But yeah, I mean, so Monday night, by the time that we went live, it was I think everybody had come back down to earth. Atlanta did a good job of doing that for them Saturday night. But it's definitely just more apathy in terms of like it's the same crap, different day kind of feeling. And I hate that that's where the fan base is at.
Yeah.
I really do. Like it drives me up the wall, not for any other reason other than I love the team. Like I know we covered the team, but like I'm a fan. And to see the team just struggle this way, knowing good and well that um it's just not clicking. It's not for lack of trying, even though, like I said last week, sometimes it might look that way. It's just not coming together into one cohesive unit, whatever that may be. And it's in like this result is kind of indicative of that. Like you go up and then some way, whether by fate or mistake or whatever, you just shoot yourself in the foot. And I think everybody's kind of response to it was it's just the same stuff.
Tyler Pilgrim hanging out with us to break everything down with Atlanta United and the run in and the matchup against Red Bulls from this past week. Yesterday, traditionally, this is always what happens. I forget you got you and your mood lighting. You're kind of in sepia tone in the front of your set this morning.
I was gonna ask, I gotta change that. I got like yeah, kind of an orange thing going on.
Yeah, yeah. You're this segment shot in sepia tone,
There we go.
and that's
That might be better.
it's a little less mood lighted. But as traditionally happens, considering we are a morning show and everybody decides they're just going to have their cup of coffee and wait to break news after we're off the air.
Yep.
Tommy Scoops over at Give Me Sport, not Give Me Sports. It is just a singular, so I'm
Just
guessing
one.
just one. So Give Me Sport. Hey, and maybe he's looking at the cousin at the other end of the table. Hey, Give Me Sport. Patrick Vieira is a finalist to be the next Atlanta United head coach. Sources tell, in all caps and italicized, Give Me Sport. Story continues. Vieira was most recently the manager of Ligue 1 Strasbourg. We know that Liam Rossignol is now the manager there, and he is the one who is counseling Caleb Wiley. Now, left after 1 year by mutual consent, 13th in the league in the lone season, briefly linked with the U.S. men's national team job that went to Pochettino. Doug McIntyre reported last month that those two sides had discussed things, and this was at the same time when Pochettino was that candidate for the USMNT. Going back to the article from McIntyre, literally it says Patrick Vieira coached NYCFC from 16 to 18, has since, and this is after the discussions with the M&T and Matt Crocker, he has since spoken to Atlanta United about their vacancy per multiple sources. So it started off being in the wash with all of the USMNT talk. Is it Matarazzo? Is it Pochettino? Vieira was mentioned there. McIntyre drops in there a month ago, actually August 9th, that Vieira is a part of the discussion with Atlanta United. And now Tommy Scoops comes in from behind and reinforces that apparently there are discussions with Patrick Vieira, or there have been discussed with Patrick Vieira, Duscussed, not Disgust. Vieira
Important
finally,
distinction.
yes. Well, it's, hey, I was a spelling bee champ in elementary school. You see what that got me. Vieira is a finalist to be the Atlanta United head coach, according to Tommy Scoops. He refers to this as a pivotal transition this winter, considering the parting ways with Gonzalo Pineda and Carlos Bocanegra, adding Miranchuk, losing Almada. And so Tommy Scoops goes through all of the greatest hits and lays everything out. Atlanta still has 2 DP spots open they intend to fill this winter. Garth Lagerwey told Bogert a few months ago the club intends to reinvest all the funds raised back into the club. So you're staring at $35 million in the kitty after you take out your Miranchuk funds. Prior to his time at Strasbourg, he mentions Crystal Palace, Nice, and that's Nice, not nice. I don't know if nice. I don't know if Nice was nice or if it wasn't nice or not. Coaching career began at NYC, where he had a 2.5-year run there. So it is now looking as Patrick Vieira as a finalist, upgrading the story from Doug McIntyre. What have you heard with your ear to the train tracks? And has there been any thought pattern from any listeners on your side of things at SNS about Vieira being mentioned as a finalist?
I mean, as for what I've heard, that Patrick Vieira has kind of been the number one name that's popped up in any kind of Atlanta discussion. Of course, there's always the wish list, right? Like we've heard everybody on the wish list.
Pep Guardiola, yeah.
Pochettino was on my wish list, but he's coming to Atlanta in a different way.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Even before this, he was mentioned, right? It was kind of going to be the standout guy. That's not to say that he's going to be the guy. I would like to know who the other finalists are.
Yeah.
Because if there's a finalist, then there has to be another finalist. Because if not, he would just have the job. So
or it would be just the finalist as opposed to a finalist.
Exactly.
Having to massage our articles here as we're looking at what's going down.
Yeah. So I would like to hear the other names, but I think Patrick. Okay, to answer the second part of the question, let me do that first. I've seen some people say, he hasn't had a great track record at the clubs that he's been at. I don't know that you can judge the man in any of the leagues that he's played in for anything higher than, 4th place to 8th. Like you're playing in Europe, right? You're going to have 2 or 3, 4 teams that are consistently going to be at the top of every league in Europe. And I think he's done okay with what he's had. You look at the record that he's had in terms of like the actual numbers, wins, draws, losses. I think that's where people have kind of a point of contention. But I think his play style, his managerial play style is kind of consistent with what the club wants.
Mm-hmm.
And his success, I think, is going to be very dependent on what all happens in this offseason and in the summer of next year, because you can't go and judge him, on his entire job between February, if he gets the job, between February and the summer transfer window. So, I mean, I think he can be successful here. I really do. I think it's going to be very similar in terms of like what they want to do in possession, kind of playing out of the back, but being very forward focused. But he is, I think, much more of a disciplinarian in terms of, That sounds really bad, but
Well,
he's
no,
very
but
disciplined.
he's very set in his ways with his expectation of a player and their duty.
Yes. Yeah, and he's gonna hold players accountable. So disciplinary, maybe not the best word, but he's gonna hold folks very, very accountable, and I think he's just gonna be a little stricter, and kind of feels like that's what this team needs, right? A little bit of accountability in some places, and I wouldn't be mad at it. If he's the one, I wouldn't be mad at it. I do think, just throwing this out there, I do think there are, I think Atlanta has the ability to go after much bigger names. Don't ask me which one right now because the one I wanted is already spoken for at this point. But um, he does have the MLS experience, which is great, and so that ticks the Lagerwey box.
Mhm.
He has the international experience, which is great because that ticks I think the fan box of wanting somebody that has outside perspective. So he kind of does have everything gift wrapped into, one nice little package to come to Atlanta and bring a different voice, as Lagerwey has said, and a different viewpoint.
Which then, and this is the whole thing that we've been discussing here, where you have Garth, and this is Garth's, this is Garth's baby, where he gets to bring in the technical director, general manager, chief soccer officer, all three, whatever combination the individual puts on the business card, and then that raises the cart before the horse stuff. If you bring in a coach, you've got to make sure that your triple threat title guy or gal meets the expectations and can work with whomever you wish to have as coach. Or do you bring in the triple threat individual and make sure that Garth and the triple threat can work with a coach? You see what I'm saying here? It's like, all right, so which one of those gets hired first? Is it the triple threat to work with Garth to get a coach, or is it the coach to work with Garth and find your triple threat person? You see where I'm trying to go here with all of this?
Yeah, this has been like the worst chicken and egg scenario I've ever heard of because, we've been talking about it with the designated players, the spots that you have open, and then the coach. And everybody, including me, was like, "Well, which one do you do first? Do you
Mm-hmm.
hire the player, or do you sign players, or do you get a new coach?" And then all of a sudden, Bocanegra gets let go, and now it's like, now we don't even have anybody to put the chicken or the egg there. So,
Well, I mean, you got the farm, and you have Mr. Purdue. I mean, you've got Mr. Purdue.
yeah, yeah, you've got the guy up top,
Yeah.
doing everything. I don't. It's really tough. I think personally, Lagerwey has the business acumen and the know-how throughout the league
Mm-hmm.
to bring in a technical director at a later time, and that won't be as it won't have as negative of an effect as doing things kind of in the reverse order, because your manager is going to immediately influence this team,
Right.
period.
Yes.
And I still think you want to bring in your new manager sooner than later, even if that just means as soon as you can at the end of the season. They have a full off season to get integrated into Atlanta, just in general, get integrated into the club, and then start to meet some of the players. Now, some of the players might be on their way out, but then you'll have more coming in, and it's much better than hiring your manager, at the beginning of February or end of January and giving them essentially just a regular preseason to try to meet everybody, do all this stuff. It's a lot for a month. So I think I would rather see that. And then the technical director essentially is going to be more focused on player acquisitions and signings anyway, rather than anything to do with the head coach, because Lagerwey kind of has that, I think, under control. So if it were me, I would much rather see head coach, GM/technical director, whatever we're calling it nowadays,
Right.
and then move forward with your big signings.
So you are of the mindset that if you are Grand Exalted Poobah trying to bring in these two individuals in your front office, that if you go coach first, you're asking the coach, "Hey, coach, insert name here. can you work with this roster or these players and have decisions on these others and have a desired input on the kind of player that you want to bring into this situation instead of, okay, give me a chief soccer officer and then the chief soccer officer slash TD slash GM and your president and CEO sit there and it's like, okay, let's find a guy that can work with this roster. We still have some decisions that could be made in public. So I'm just trying to check your Venn diagram, your flow chart here as to how you're
the variety of charts that I just threw out. Yeah, I mean, I think a coach should have a seat at the table with player signings. I'm not saying that they need to be the one, making the signings or saying, these are the 11 players that I have to have. Like, that's unrealistic. But I do think, Frank DeBoer shouldn't be getting Pity Martinez because that just wasn't the right fit. Great player, didn't fit the play style. And I think he needs to have some kind of a say. So if he's a stopgap solution for just a couple of months while the technical director spot is still looking to be filled, that's okay. Because you have to remember, like, it's not like Carlos left and his entire scouting department and analytics department got fired too. Like, the guys are still there doing things. You just don't have the main guy at the top. So they can still go find talent. And if whoever the coach is says, yes, I like that guy, Lagerwey also isn't oblivious to the job. Like, he can go and say, like, all right, I've been around player acquisitions and I've been around technical directors and I've been around scouts. Like, I can make a signing, right? Like, I can determine whether or not it's the best fit for the team.
I'm not organizational chopped liver here, as Alex said.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Before, yeah.
So I just think the coach gives you a little bit of both. The coach will give you the ability to say, all right, that's a guy that, yes, I think he will fit into my system or what I'm trying to do. I would very much like for you to go after him or not. And whether it happens or not, that's going to be on Lagerwey and the scouting department and everything. But I just think that's the order and the addition to the Venn diagram that you have to have.
Venn diagram. Who knew we were going to have Trig down here this morning?
I know it.
As Tyler's hanging out with us. You look at, and Rich Ransom, our resident Philadelphia Union hometown fan, is in the timeline this morning. We've mentioned Zombie Union coming into this discussion now. They are the ones that are in the Eastern Conference taking over the Seattle role for the late push. When you've had the chance to do your quick study hall of Philadelphia, Philadelphia is a team that will drive anybody crazy. They will try and test limits, and then they will find the limit, and then they will have other individuals. They will have different individuals testing that limit all the way down the line. It's not going to be one dude who's going to sit there and mash the accelerator and break through the barricade, and then that's it. It's not like the car carrier in Smokey and the Bandit, where the roadblock is there and the car carrier just goes right through. It's not that, and then you have all of the Georgia State troopers at Lakewood Fairgrounds sitting there going, you got to move them cars. You got to move them cars. It's not that situation. It literally is, all right, so I'm going to bring the car carrier through. There's a hole that's been created. Oh, look, here comes Snowman. Oh, look.
It was filmed very close down here to me.
Well, I would, because they did a lot of stuff on the South Side.
Yeah. Like 5 minutes from where I'm at.
Far out, because there actually is a website that actually has all of the shoot locations where I think it was downtown. I think it was downtown Fayetteville at the time, or that was supposed to be Texarkana, the old school. The old school run at the beginning of the movie is one. There is a website literally that has all of the shoot locations and said this is Texarkana and this is where this.
Because you had Fayetteville, you had McDonough. I want to say Griffin.
Yeah,
at some point, but yeah.
So
not to take you off topic. I'm sorry, but every time I hear that movie, I'm like, hey, that's close to me.
Where are what day is it, sir?
Wall Pass Wednesday.
Correct. So no, this should not be a surprise for you.
I may have inadvertently ended up on a couple of the Walking Dead sets in my past as well.
Dude, I mean, that's another thing. I sit there and it's like, I understand it. I know people dig it. I've never gone down that road. So you look at Philadelphia, it's a road trip. Zombie Union are now north of the playoff bar. What's your early thoughts getting ready for this one here in the midweek?
This was never going to be a match that you were going to have fun playing because it's Philadelphia.
Well, it's never fun playing it. No,
Regardless of whether or not they were at the bottom of the standings and struggling in the beginning, like they figured it out. Got 9 goals in 2 games. There's something to be said about that. And look, Super Park is never a great place for Atlanta, if we're being honest. And hindsight being 2020, it would have been nice to have these past 3 matches go your way because these past 3 matches were winnable matches. So you're now continuing to fight an uphill battle. This one's tough, but like I said, the rest of the schedule is not out of reach for Atlanta. And if they go up there and they play a consistent performance like they did near the second half of the Red Bulls game, then you can frustrate Philly a little bit, and you can probably find some success. Yes, and that was part of what we discussed on MLS Monday. Union schedule sucks after Atlanta. It really sucks. And you just have to hope that you can go in. This is one where I'm like, all right, cool. A point might be okay, but you can't settle for anything less than 3 because you don't have that leeway. It's going to be a knockdown, drag out type of game. Like I wrote it on the website after this past match. Like a lot can be said back and forth, and opinions are abound about Atlanta this year.
Yeah.
But one thing you cannot argue is that this team does not lay their bodies on the line. Pedro Amador still wearing, an eye patch basically for what happened in Nashville.
I'm still livid about that.
Yeah, that's wild.
Sam Surridge, like I said, for me, the Sam Surridge, this should not be a Darren McCarty, Claude Lemieux situation. That's your Google search and YouTube search for today, kids. Think Red Wings and Avalanche from the 90s.
Exactly. That's the thing. Steon Gregerson getting twice in the past 3 matches, getting like clawed and punched in the face. Jamal Tiare, that dude, somebody said in our Discord that he plays like he's renting his body.
Yeah, he does.
And it's true. Yeah. I mean, he lays it out there. And you're going to have to do that in Philly because that's the way that they play. They're going to piss you off. We know this about
yes,
Philly.
we know this. Yes.
They're going to piss you off. And I think at this point in the season, you have to let your emotions kind of fly a little bit. I'm not saying go out there and just start swinging haymakers, but you kind of have to show them a little bit of attitude back, or they're going to run all over you. And so go and it's similar to the Red Bulls. Don't play into their hand, play their game, and play it better than they're playing it, right? And I know that's much easier said than done, but you have to go up there and frustrate them to where they start making mistakes, and you can find some success.
See? There you go. Game plan's all squared away.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going on at SNS? You've got the Monday show. How is the Monday show, by the way?
It was fun. It's really fun. We've been doing the Monday thing, but trying to add in some other takes and things from around the league, just kind of going over a 30,000 foot view, as you would say.
Yes.
But no, it was good. It was a good time. We'll be doing it every Monday, even after the season. Well, I say after the season, depending on what happens with Atlanta in the season.
News don't stop just because your local team season might be over.
Exactly. So we'll still be talking about all of it. Tonight we'll be having Ross Smith on for a little bit. He'll be coming on. We'll have the show at 7. He'll be coming on at 8. And we'll be talking, I'm sure, Patrick Vieira, Philly, Daniel Gazdag,
So
blah, blah, blah.
You're going to get Ross to talk a little Tony Husband smack while you're at it? Get
Yeah.
Tony Husband dirt?
trying to get them to poke a little bit,
Yeah,
poke and prod.
absolutely.
Always.
Find out, get some intel on Tony Husband in the booth. By the way, and this is like the old Saturday Night Live sketch. Hey, did you know? Did you know? Did you know that we're up for an FCA award?
Yes. Congratulations, by the way. I was gonna come in and like drop that. Congratulations.
We
but
were shocked.
we went with, I think that's amazing. That's really it was funny. I actually saw it. So we had 2 birthdays this weekend. We had Stella turned 2, and then the middle
Stella!
one,
Mhm.
turned 13. We were at the Coke factory on Monday.
Mhm.
Monday.
Sure.
And when I saw this pop up, and I was in the shortly after drinking the famed Beverly. If anybody else has ever had Beverly
There you go.
and knows what I'm talking about,
Uh-huh.
I had the disgust on my face still because even though you know about it, you have to drink it when you go there.
Yeah.
And I saw this on Twitter because I hadn't been on Twitter much that day, obviously, and I was like, "Hey, look at that! That's freaking amazing! I'm so happy for y'all."
We got the ish shocked out of us. It's like you look at the other 9 and then you go, one of these things is not like the other.
But it's it's kudos to what you guys are doing. And we've talked about it. I mean, y'all, I think talking to Jason, he said, my vision for this would be to almost essentially be like an ESPN type network where there's constantly some kind of coverage going on. And I think that's phenomenal. And, we've worked together, all of us, with doing articles and doing shows. And I just think it's, y'all have been a platform for the past few years that has done nothing but good things for sports, obviously soccer mostly, but sports in general in Georgia. And I think it's great. And the surrounding area, because God knows Jason never stops driving or flying somewhere. So, and you too.
Well, we're all insane basically. And that's,
Which is okay.
Maddie will go to Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Jason will go to Chattanooga. We'll go to Mercer to cover, to be a part of that broadcast. But the stories that we do with all the other programming, whether it's League One or Championship, and bringing in guests and bringing in folks from all around the planet. And no, but literally, it's like, hey, by the way, did you know that we're up for an FCA? And we're getting emails. So are you coming to the thing? And this is like literally the award ceremony is the Thursday. It's a week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And
At Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
At Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where tickets are like $250 to $400 a pop.
I saw that. Oh, like dang! And then they won't even give y'all tickets.
Yeah, well, but then the thing is that we're a finalist, but maybe if we're a finalist, like, if we make it past October 13th and we're like one of the top 3, then we can think about it. It's not something where we can sit there and drop all of our ish and go, yeah, we're going. We can drop airfare for 6 and go to London. I mean, it's but no, it is freakish. It is stunning. It is a bunch of different adjectives, but maybe after October 13th, after we put stuffed the ballot box, and thank you guys for helping us out with that.
Absolutely.
Maybe if we're a finalist, then if we're like a top 3, then we'll go. Just to kind of sit there and say, hey, look, it's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
And the boss has already figured it out, by the way. She is like, okay, well, then what we do is you've got a high school football game on Friday night. So we leave Saturday morning. She would be missing the Auburn, Louisiana Monroe game. And she goes, that might be our only other win. So it's not missing much on my part. So we'd fly out Saturday, be there for the week, do the morning show from London, and be there for the awards on Thursday night local time, and then fly back early morning AM Friday, get me back in town for Football Fridays on the following Friday night.
Best of luck to you.
Well, but I mean, it's like you gain 6 hours, and that's like the length of the flight. So it's like a 7 or 8 hour flight. So I'm only losing 2 hours if I get an early morning flight out of London on Friday morning. Then I'm back here late morning, early afternoon. The only show that I don't do that week is the Friday morning flight, unless I do it from the plane. So anyway,
Yeah, there's a little bit of logistical concerns with that. So
I could see the flight attendant coming down. Excuse me, Mr. Nelson, what are you doing? I'm busy. I'm doing a show.
I'm live right now. Say hello.
I'm live. You turn everything around, and it's like, hey, here's a monitor. I'm on a Delta flight. It's a packed Delta flight. Hey, everybody, you're live. One of those kind of things. But
no, it's well deserved. I'm super happy for y'all. I saw that and I was like, dang, that's freaking amazing. Again, while my face was disgusted with Beverly, but
you don't do that.
no.
As always, my friend, it's great to catch up with you. Great to see you on the middle of the week, and we know that SNS is busy tonight. You're busy on Monday nights. You're busy on Wednesday nights. Get all the Tony Husband intel that you can. We need good Tony Husband stories from Ross Smith tonight. Go enjoy your mug, and you can go to the Scarves in Spike's store. Get the lid, get the mug, get the stuff, and maybe you can have something akin to a Mandalorian mug with some SNS attached to it and violate as many copyrights as humanly possible.
Try to stay away from that part, but if I can get as close as I can without going over the line.
Exactly. All right. Be good, brother. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
That's Tyler. Tyler putting up with our blatant promo of being, literally one of these things is not like the other. You want to talk about an absolute shocking, oh my God. That's what that is. But by the way, and I'll put this in the Discord, and if everybody could spread the word, it'd be great. And I'm going to apologize, like I said, ahead of time, because this is going to border being on the obnoxious because until October 13th, because of the voting coefficient being what it is on the fan side of things. So there it is. FootballContentAwards.com/voting. Vote for us. Vote for us. Vote for us. Don't vote for any of those other folks. As I said, literally, this is the time when you grab the slingshot and you put the stone in it and you aim it at everybody else. So this is that chance. Before we get into news, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, Marion Crowder has said that she is swamped. She'll be with us next week and catch up with everything going on in Super League and in SEC. So we'll catch up with Marion next week as well. It's our turn to be keeping our heads low when it comes to everything going on with the weather. Just let us know and be safe, because apparently we are going to get popped right in the face with all of this weather that's coming this way with Helene. And I'm staring at the Weather Channel, because obviously I've got a live game on Friday that I got to pay attention to, not unlike our next guest who comes in and is the busiest man in the Northeast, and he knows what high school athletics is all about. But yeah, I'm staring at power outage forecasts and rain forecasts and people getting sandbags, and we're apparently going to get popped right in the mush on Thursday. So it is that time. It's after 10 o'clock. It is hour number 2. We bring in Dylan Butler. Hi, Dylan.
Hi.
Sorry
to hear about getting punched in the face. That's never a good thing.
Especially by Tropical Storm Helene, who will be Hurricane Helene by the time she hits landfall, and she might be a Cat 3 by the time she hits. And apparently the path is going to punch us right in the mush. So
I hope everyone there will be able to stay safe, and hopefully maybe it makes a turn towards
someplace
land.
Yes. Someplace else where everybody stays safe.
Yeah.
Yes, battening down the hatches is always a good thing. What is it? What is the mug this morning, sir?
We are blessed today.
Yes, and so we will discuss all of that. But yeah, I have my high school football game of the week on Friday. Helene should be away, but Helene not picking up her trash on the way through might be a problem, plus the power outages. And so we're going to be keeping an eye on that as she decides what she's going to do.
I don't know how this helps you from I don't know how many miles away we are, but I have a generator in my shed, so I got you, buddy.
Yeah, I was debating, and this is literally a conversation I had with the boss from all the time that I spend watching the Weather Channel during football season, so I know what I'm wearing, what the weather's going to be like, temperatures, and all that kind of stuff. I debated, and I see Cantori doing the ads all the time. I'm debating getting one of those big Generac generators and having that, we're going to have to put it on a piece of, concrete or something so it doesn't get washed down because we live downhill. And so all the water comes our way. So I'd have to put it on something like a cement platform or something. But I have seriously, this is the person who lives in a condo in me now, as opposed to Shay Ishhole, my previous place of living. I'm actually thinking about those kinds of things now. It's like, you've got one. With all the weather coming in the southeast, do I get a generator? Do I, we got to build something in the back to put it on? These are the things that are running through my head now as someone who lives in a condo as opposed to a really crappy apartment.
Yeah, the funny thing is, man, I think I bought it like 2 years ago. Like, Harbor Freights had like a deal going, and I got it. And it's not like it's not gonna power the whole house kind of deal, but it'll keep your refrigerator going. You get some lights going, things like that. But I finally pulled the plug and bought it, and then last year I said, "All right, I'm taking it out of the box." Didn't do anything with it; just took it out of the box.
There you go. Thank you.
And then this about a month or so ago, I was like, you know what? I'm finally doing it. I'm finally firing this sucker up. So I had it going for a little bit. So at least I know how to do that part of it. So
yes. But yeah, the Football Content Awards, literally, this is like the old when Buckwheat was shot sketch on Saturday Night Live. We're a finalist in the broadcaster division for Football Content Awards. And
okay.
it's like 9 networks and us. Literally, it's like Prime, Sky, TNT UK, which used to be BT, BBC, Talk Sport, ESPN UK, Golasso Network, and then there's us.
Nice.
So we're trying to get folks to stuff the ballot box because that's 50% of the deal. We're going to try to get some Cook County politics going here between now and October 13th.
Yeah.
And then 50% is judges and 50% is popular vote. And so, yeah, literally it's like, so did you know when a new guest comes in?
At least swimsuit competition isn't a part of it.
Yes. No, you don't want that. But yeah, we're up for an FCA, and it's incredibly humbling. And I think I broke my phone when I found out about it on Monday. I do want to talk about coaching carousel with what happened. Tommy Scoops with a couple of articles. I did mention with Tyler Pilgrim at Scarves and Spikes. Now the second tour of Patrick Vieira being linked to Atlanta United. Doug McIntyre had mentioned that month or so ago when Pochettino and Matarazzo were in discussions with USMNT, and Vieira was listed with that, et cetera, et cetera. And of Vieira from his time at pre-Dylan Butler Estates with NYCFC. How would you break down his tenure there at NYCFC and how he is as a manager of people and players? But when I mentioned Patrick Vieira to you, how would you break it down to what folks need to be paying attention to about Vieira?
Yeah, I mean, like if you were playing word association with me and you said first thing you think of, right, which I thought you were going with, so I started thinking that.
Go for it.
Class.
Okay.
Like pure class. Like he's a guy. Now remember too, when he came in to NYCFC, they were fresh off of their first season. Jason Christ was the manager. They did not make the playoffs that season, and then they went to Vieira, right? So now Vieira's still has this, baby of a club, and trying to institute a certain way and a style that he wants them to play in the City Football Group mold. And he did a tremendous job, right? Like, I mean, so much of what we've come to expect out of NYCFC, even now, right, I think has its roots in Patrick Vieira as manager. So, I worked closely around him. Those were the days where I was going out to, training once a week. I was at every match, so I got to know him as a person really well. Just a true gentleman. And the players love him, but don't listen. There was part of, and it's funny because now you've got a Hudson River Derby coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember, and I believe it was Felipe when he was with the Red Bulls. Vieira, from my understanding, I didn't see it personally, but from my understanding, got into it with him a little bit in the tunnel at Yankee Stadium, right? So, this is a guy. I mean, obviously, you go back famously, like Keane and he back in their Manchester United, Arsenal days, right? But yeah, you don't. You love to play under him, but he's not a pushover by any means.
Just because you think you see someone who is has a quiet, understated demeanor does not mean that they are going to be a pushover and sit there. And if somebody yells at you and you just don't respond to it, it doesn't mean that you're not going to respond to it and take that and just take it and go, basically.
Yeah, I'd love to see him back in the league. It's funny. I do remember once having a conversation with him. By the way, I think when he left, again, memory's a little bit foggy, but I believe that he's one of those guys that he ended up buying like everyone that worked closely with him in the club, like, watches, like as a thank you for all their help. And we went to, it was a number of broadcast journalists, print journalists, web journalists. We invited us out after a season for a French meal in Manhattan. It was excellent. So, but again, this is just like, he's class, right? Like, I'm sure a lot of that comes from Wenger, right? Like, and just his upbringing, but like, you want to root for a person like that, and obviously, if you're a player, I think you want to go that extra yard for him and play well for him. So.
And then the other news that Tommy Scoops came out with is that the dire end of the spectrum, and has to do with and this is for me, this is probably twofold. First, and it's about the San Jose situation. The news that came out involving San Jose and who they've apparently, allegedly, possibly, probably talked to for their vacancy, and it's a lot of heavy hitters. Ian Russell, obviously, also in consideration. Bruce Arena, and this is Bogert. This is like check marks and have. This is not, according to sources. They may have talked to these individuals, but per sources, they have talked to Bruce Arena, Greg Berhalter, Gio Savarese, and Robin Frazier, in addition to Ian Russell still being in consideration. Sidebar. Why would any of these four individuals, Ian Russell knows what he's getting into.
And I don't think Greg Berhalter, I believe, will be in Chicago unless that's changed.
And so let's take Berhalter out of the equation and put him, front and center in Chicago, and we can loop back to the Fire in a second. Knowing what John Fisher does or does not do as an owner, and what I would recommend is go to Awful Announcing's website. And John Fisher, the owner of the San Jose Earthquakes, wrote a letter to the fan base of the baseball team that he owns. And Larry Beal took 4.5 minutes and eviscerated him with that letter, using his own evidence to refute each and every point that was made. John Fisher is the owner of the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah.
John Fisher has not invested in the Oakland Athletics in Oakland. And seriously, go to Awful Announcing, Larry Beal's rant. It's class.
Well, also sidebar on that, right? So, like, obviously, I'm a Yankees fan, right? So I was watching Sunday Yankees, and it was weird to think of it, right? Last game in Oakland, and I started thinking, I'm like, how, like, in that ballpark, right? Like, unless it's just a member, like a Montreal Expos kind of thing, like how can you sell merchandise, right? If you're that team, when you're like, hey, we're out. Like, like at the stadium, like, you have your beer and your hot dogs, whatever, but you want to buy a hat, you want to buy a shirt, like who's doing that, right? And secondly, who is even doing that in Sacramento for 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're a rental. Like it's not like they're not going to be around, like in a much smaller way, like a while back, right? Like before there were the Brooklyn Cyclones,
Yes.
there was the Queens Kings,
Oh.
and they played at St. John's, and the deal was like, hey, we want to have this what is it, short season A
Mm-hmm.
team. We need somewhere in New York to put them before we build this stadium and whatever in Brooklyn. Let's have it in Queens. But St. John's is like, all right, fine, but you've got to build the stadium. So they said, all right, deal. So they built a stadium, and I covered the Queens Kings for one season. They played the Staten Island Yankees. They played the, I don't even know who else. All those
The Albany Colony A's.
No, but not them. I don't think. But the
This was
Auburn double
days. Yeah.
Double days. Yeah.
So this was New York Penn League.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So there you knew, like, hey, this is a 1-year thing. Queens Kings. Okay, fine, right? And in fact, it ended up being like the Cyclones obviously were connected with the Mets, but the Queens Kings were actually with the Blue Jays. It was a really weird setup. But I digress. So, but Sacramento, like, who's gonna, like, I guess if you're a general baseball fan,
mm-hmm.
you will go, right? Because you've not seen the Yankees in Sacramento. You've not seen whoever else, right? The Detroit Tigers, your favorite player. But you're not going to be a fan of that team, right? How can you? For 3 years?
Yeah, not happening. By the way, since you sent me down that sidebar rabbit hole,
Yes.
folks actually are selling Queens Kings hats.
I probably know the people who are selling them.
Well, and I mean there's one alternate logo that's pretty sweet. I mean the Q with the King's crown I can kind of live without, but the alternate logo with the red and the white, that looks fantastic. And it's the one with the cards. The cards alternate logo is fantastic, by the way. So
I covered I was working for a weekly newspaper in Queens, and I covered that. I was basically on that beat, like they had some great series. I think they ended up losing in the playoffs to the Staten Island Yankees. But yeah, listen, it was a great summer of Queens Kings.
Someone is actually selling an extra large vintage Queens Kings T-shirt for $40 or best offer on the eBays. So that alternate logo, other than the Q and the Queen and the Kings lid, that one I can kind of live without. But yeah, the alternate logo with the cards, that's fantastic. Dylan Butler, MLSsoccer.com on a Wall Pass Wednesday, which means we pretty much go anywhere and everywhere with whatever anybody wants to talk about. But why in the blue ish would anybody want to go and be in San Jose, considering who the owner is? Yeah, I know it's great that according to sources you've talked to, Bruce Arena, Greg Berhalter, Gio Savarese, Robin Frazier, and you're considering Ian Russell. But why would anyone worth their salt want to go and be in that situation, considering how he is currently owning the Oakland A's? Why would I even be interested in going to a San Jose?
The only thing to me is if you're like an up and coming manager, like a lower level manager, right? And you want to prove yourself at the Major League Soccer level. But all those names you mentioned aren't those guys, right? Like they're established guys. and if I'm a I don't know, Gio Savarese, if I'm a Robin Fraser, I'm like, I think I'm gonna wait for the next one.
And it's
Like,
like,
I'm not getting this bus. I'm gonna get the next bus.
yeah, you look in, you kind of sit there and you look in and you're like, no, I'm gonna catch the next one.
I've had that situation like with subway trains. Like you see it coming in and you see it packed, every car packed, and you see one that's not. You're like, yes, let's go in there. And then you go in there and it's like you realize why, there's a
Mhm.
certain smell.
There's a certain client. There's a certain clientele. There's a certain.
Yeah, and you're like, now this is why this car was empty.
There's a certain odoriferous clientele that's
Yeah.
attached to this
You're
particular
like,
car.
how soon is the next stop?
Yep. Hey, Bob Bradley's also available. Stayback has let him go for the second time in his career. You mentioned Chicago and Berhalter. That is one that has kind of flown below the radar when it comes to interest and conversation. Period. Is it just Berhalter's to turn down in your estimation? What
Yeah,
do
I
you?
think so. I think so. I think it's there's going to be a certain level of and maybe it's just finalizing certain aspects of it. I don't know. I don't have the inside scoop like Tommy Scoops does, but I think it's obviously beyond head coaching, right? There's going to be some level of decision making above a head coach that he's going to have
Yeah.
with Chicago, but I think he'd be a perfect fit there. That would be a good landing spot for him. Um, and who knows when this interview with San Jose happened, right? Like, um, that could have been before things got hot and heavy with Chicago.
It could have been when they were the San Jose Clash, or they had just moved in from Houston. We talked to Berhalter. When was it? Oh, 1998.
We were trying to sign him as a defender.
Yes. So we'll keep an eye on Berhalter and Chicago. The situation in New York with Red Bulls and NYCFC, they are the second chase group behind Messi and friends, and it is the 4 to the 7 involving both of the teams there in your footprint.
I thought you were going train lines there because the four, like if you go from City Field to Yankee Stadium, I think it is the
Oh wow,
7 line to the 4.
far out.
I believe it is.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
With my lack of knowledge of the subway system, Red Bull's currently running the 4, so they're running the 4 train right now. But they are part of that second chase group where it's Red Bulls at 44, Purple Team at 43, and I'm still waiting for the slow fade from Oscar Pareja. But apparently, Oscar Pareja might have shaken hands with Dean Smith and given him the fade germs. Where Charlotte and NYCFC have the same record. Charlotte has 3 goals better in difference, but Charlotte, I think, has only won once or twice in the fiscal year. And they're the ones that seem to be fading, but I think there's enough room for them to continue to fade and still make it in the playoffs. With this second chase group involving Red Bulls, NYC, Orlando, and Charlotte, what are you seeing from the teams up there in your footprint?
Yeah, I mean, they are they let's stay with the train analogy, I guess. I was going to go with a car analogy, but we'll go train. Like these Red Bulls and NYCFC are trains between stations that you get in the conductor. Apologize for the delay. There's a we're just waiting for a signal ahead to get going. Like they're just not moving right now. Like and even the trains that are like coming to either side of them, like Charlotte and Orlando, like they're moving really slowly. Like nobody in these 4 trains across these tracks are moving.
You got union drivers involving all 4 trains. Well, if they ain't moving, I ain't moving.
No, exactly.
And
The guy at the switcher is like, I don't know who's supposed to go first. Like, I'm waiting for my boss to tell me. He's on a break right now. So,
Red Bulls really haven't been the same since Emil Forsberg got injured.
Yeah, no. Someone in Red Bull Facebook world was trying to make the analogy rather that it was since Frankie Amaya was sold, but I'll go more with the Emil Forsberg.
Recency
Um,
bias, yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I mean, allegedly, supposedly, maybe he's going to be back soon, maybe even in time for the derby on Saturday, which,
Ooh.
considering the way these two teams have played, is this not like, again, we joke about juice boxes and you do so at your own peril.
Yes.
But is this not just going to be like a 1-1 draw? The way neither team can win a game these days.
Right now, just so you know, Red Bulls at home are a plus 112. Your draws a plus 267. NYC on the road coming across the river is a plus 219. Look, if that draw figure is the draw figure and it's the highest of the three, take it. Take it, man. The over-under, by the way, the total, if you're going to go over 2.5, it's minus 158. If you're going to go under 2.5, it's a plus 125.
And then you have to start looking sort of at, all right, so what's the road now for these four teams? Now, Orlando has done a lot of great work, but is it smoke and mirrors because they haven't beaten a quality team, right? Like Charlotte was their best win this year, really.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Orlando have down the stretch of the regular season? What does Charlotte have? What does NYCFC and Red Bull? Like, I'm pulling up Charlotte right now as we speak. They close out the season with Miami.
Good luck.
On the road, home for Chicago, home for Montreal, and at DC. So that's a very favorable stretch drive, right? Like, maybe you punt on the Miami match, but if you get 3, 6,
9,
say 7 points,
okay,
or even 7, right, from those 3,
sure,
you should be in pretty good shape.
We actually have 3 final, and so as you go digging up all the others, we actually have 3 championship games tonight.
Yes, we do.
If you are Wilfred Nancy going up against,
I will be on the desk for all of those.
Oh, so you got to get in your nap. Crew at lower.com.
There's no nap.
At the Death Star, taking on Club America. This is another opportunity for Wilfred Nancy to solidify the fact that if anybody is worth their salt, you are tracking Wilfred Nancy down and asking him what his number is, and making sure that however many zeros are in that contract, that you sign him, and you sign him quickly and get him out of Columbus. I think that no surprise they go all in on this one, and they try to get the Duke, and they try to get another trophy in Campiones Cup. I assume you're looking at this the same way that Nancy's looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
So first class lineup, starting 11 is starting 11. No tweaks or changes.
Yeah, I think so. They've got a huge one with Miami coming up in 2 weeks, I want to say, which could, play, like, if Miami stubs their toe again this weekend, that's a true 6-pointer. I'm not saying that they're punting on the Shield yet, the Crew, but it's going to take a lot, I think, from Miami in a negative way for that to turn around. So, yeah, listen, it's another chance for a trophy against the big club on a big stage, and they've been pretty consistent with chasing that, right? So I think they'll certainly go for that. I pulled up Red Bulls. So obviously NYCFC go to Toronto, which is like a weird one, at the Benz, and then home for Columbus to end the regular season. So that's a very difficult. Certainly Charlotte, like right now, of those two, a more favorable Final Four, right?
Yeah, no doubt. You got Can Champ tonight, Toronto at Vancouver, and then you've got the Open Cup final.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, there's an Open Cup final tonight. And it's LAFC and Sporting, and Sporting has gone all in on this tournament, much like they have in the past years before they would go zombie Sporting on us, but they didn't do that this year.
And they're already in the CONCACAF Champions Cup as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Sporting at LAFC is on the free side of Apple TV at 10:30. And I just for issues and giggles, I want to see what the juice boxes are on this one and see what they think about level of investment by Sporting. Sporting to win Open Cup in 90 minutes is a plus 523. LAFC is a minus 217. 90-minute draws a plus 338. I don't know if I have any trust in that.
I mean, listen, it's the only saving grace of a bad season for Sporting to lift this trophy again. And for LAFC, listen, they're spinning their wheels right now, right? Like they're not closing out the regular season that you'd want a team that you'd expect to be a contender for MLS Cup.
But you got Carlos Vela back. You got Carlos Vela back. You got Carlos Vela back.
This could be a jumping off point for them, to end. I think it's a 5-match winless streak right now for them. Yeah. Before we close out, Orlando at Dallas, home for a hot Philly team.
Yeah.
At Cincinnati, and then versus Atlanta on decision day.
Yikes.
Again, they have not. The only team above, I think, the playoff line, or the only significant win they have this year, just happened against Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And then NYCFC, their final stretch drive, also not the easiest. After Red Bull, they stay at Red Bull. Then they put on their home jerseys to take on FC Cincinnati. They're at Red Bull again as the home team against Nashville, and then they're up at Stade Saputo against Montreal to close the season out,
which can be tricky. Abby was just up your way.
Oh, she didn't say hi.
Glad to bring back some wonderful bagels. If I am searching for bagels in the land of Dylan Butler, where am I going for bagels?
Oh, there's too many. We would have to narrow down sort of where you would be. I don't know the good Manhattan bagel spots. I know a few in Queens. Utopia Bagels is very good in Queens.
Okay.
Which wouldn't be too far from Dylan Butler Estates.
Okay.
There's a couple out my way, but yeah, listen, if you go in and like it's steamy in there, and like you're at the right place. Like, they're in the back making them, and you just, you can go with the everything. I'm a big everything guy. Cinnamon raisins, very good too. Those are my two go-tos, but honestly, I would just go like, hey, what just came out, and go with it.
Okay. Abby says in Manhattan, she got Issa was in Jersey City and got Wonder Bagels in Jersey City, and Abby's also a pumpernickel person. That pumpernickel seems too busy for me. All right, so you're on the desk tonight for anything and everything going on with the 3 finals. What else is going on?
Yeah, I got high school football Friday night as well.
Varsity Media, who you got?
Stepanak and St. Anthony's, a battle of powerhouses in the Catholic Football League. Although Stepanak's off to an 0-4 start, played a brutal schedule to start the season. Won't get easier on Friday night. And then I got the old-fashioned backyard brawl of neighboring towns, Massapequa and Farmingdale, on Saturday afternoon. That last year, this game was decided by, get this, you'll love this. It's at Farmingdale.
Okay.
It goes to overtime.
Okay.
Farmingdale, I forgot if they won the toss or not, but they went first in the overtime possession. They get the touchdown. They get the point after.
Okay.
Massapequa gets the ball next. And again, they're on the road. They get the touchdown and they go for 2.
Oh.
And they get it.
Oh.
And I said to the coach after, I texted him, I go, listen, Kevin, that was an incredible, like, I love it. If you didn't get it, I love it because it puts so much, it's saying how much confidence you have in your guys. Like, this is such a big locker room thing. You know, that was amazing. He goes, honestly, he's like, I just wanted to get out of there. He's like, we had so many penalties. We should have won the game in regulation. Like, let's just go home. Like, whatever happens here. So,
Yeah, I've had coaches tell me the same thing. It's like, man, it's like a state semifinal or something. We're in overtime. I just want to get this over with, and I'm going to go home. I got a 4-hour drive going back to South Georgia. I want to get this done. I want to go home.
And they went home with the win. And for Farmingdale, that point and then a field goal at the buzzer in the county semifinals were their only 2 losses last year. So Massapequa ran the table. They went 12-0. They won the Long Island Championship. So they lost a lot of seniors from that team last year. Farmingdale returns a lot of guys this year. So
Okay.
be fun.
Varsity Media on the YouTubes, and you can catch up with all of Dylan's past broadcasts, pre-broadcast at Dylan_Butler on the Twitters, where he is monitoring the desk for all 3 finals tonight in Major League.
I'm gonna need a lot of this tonight.
Yes, and yes, you are definitely blessed, as you will be MLS and MLS adjacent on the desk tonight at MLSsoccer.com. Be safe, my friend. Get your nap in. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, that's Dylan. And Dylan is going to he's going to get in a nap. He's going to need it. All right, let's go through everything that has gone on so far in the timeline. We'll get caught up with everybody who's here. It's time for me to say hello to everyone. Alex, good morning. Rich, countdown to Yell's beatdown. And I love how Rich is getting adjusted to how things are south of the Mason-Dixon line. He has the 2 apostrophes in y'alls. He's got it down. Y apostrophe ALL apostrophe S. Y'alls. That is the proper layout for second person plural. Yeah, well, actually, it's like second person plural possessive because it's you in second person singular in the South. Then it's y'all. And then second person plural possessive has the 2 apostrophes. So well done, Rich. It is y'alls. Y apostrophe ALL apostrophe S. Second person. It is second person plural possessive. Well done. And Rich dropped a dupe. Tom's in this morning, and as everything's going back and forth, Tom's having a conversation with Rich about which team's showing up. Morning, Alex. Alex says that Grogu, in the discussion I was having with Tyler, Grogu's his own person, but he is like the whatever the species is. I've always just thought of Yoda as like a species, but apparently not. So Grogu is apparently of the Yoda genus, but not a Yoda. So, yeah, same species as Yoda. So Grogu is whatever a Yoda is. Same genus and species. Morning, Abby. Abby, they did play hard. Mentioning the 2s. Put it all out there last night, lost it 1-0, and it was on one of those moments. Ryan Carmichael chipped Jaden Hibbert from just at the edge of the 18. Hibbert came out to challenge. Carmichael went over the top, and it went in 1-0. And Atlanta United, 2 fought. And at the end of the night, it was a 1-goal difference. And so last home match of the year, it was great to see the fans turn out last night. 2's review will be up later this morning. Maddie caught up with Javi Armas, Steve Cook. Get your highlights, Jason's analysis of the 2024 season. All of that's in the 2's review. That'll be up on the app later this morning. Let's see. So Tom didn't think it was a foul. Abby discussing Edwin Mosqueda, inconsistent. 26 seconds. I think that was the amount of time it was with Edwin Mosqueda being in before he scored. And Alex, Edwin's X-Chaos is through the roof. Yes, it is. Has had some great unexpected moments this season. If you want to be a championship team, you have change of pace players like Edwin, Alex says, but who are more consistent. Let's see. So Morning Ropes And yes, Rich, you run in pretty tough, Atlanta, Orlando, and then you have your own hell is real triangle with Columbus and Cincinnati. Absolutely true. Abby says she spoke with Jaden Hibbert last night, been on her list for U.S., Jamaica, and Canada for country flags. He said his Canadian passport's coming, so it appears that he will be choosing Canada going forward. So morning, Tom. Morning, Alex. In the discussion we were having with Tyler about Garth and the front office and a head coach, we have an interim TD in Garth. Hire a coach first, get the roster work started, bring in a new TD as soon as the season ends, Garth already knowing who will work well together. Tom, coach, you get input, not veto power, to put it simply, or be in control of everything like individuals have been in this league. We've seen how well that is, where you're both the head coach and the technical director. That hasn't really worked all that well. Morning, Pars. Tip of the hat to Frank DeBoer from Pars this morning about the defense. And Abby's like, she's hoping she gets to her destination Saturday in time to watch the game live. And yes, Abby, thank you for the kind words. And everybody, thanks for all the kind words. By the way, did you know that we were nominated for the Football Content Awards this year? Vote, 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 vote. That's probably the best way I can phrase it. You have until October 13th to find as many different IP addresses as humanly possible to vote for SDH. Going up against all the big boys. It's like all of them and us. And as I said, it's time for us to grab the slingshot and find the stone. So really looking forward to it. Yeah, it is rainy season in November in London. Yeah, really looking forward to that. And Alex, this is absolutely true. Schedule compression is the price you pay for success. It sounds like a T-shirt. Tell you what, Alex, if through some act of divine intervention we were to surpass everybody in the FCAs and come away with that hardware, this is probably a T-shirt. Schedule compression is the price you pay for success. That's probably a T-shirt. Morning, Harry. Morning, Ropes. Apparently, from what I understand, and this is me also checking my text messages, because we are also trying to figure out what we need to do when it comes to our activities on Friday. Dylan has his, we have ours at Georgia Public, and the whole vibe is, okay, do we bring 40 cubits of wood or not? Are we playing or not? Apparently we are. As things are shifting, it's supposed to be clear on Friday. Helene will have blown through here by like late morning Friday. God bless turf fields. But apparently, according to the Weather Channel, literally, and I'm staring at Jen Carfagno, and she is putting up the numbers, Atlanta might be getting 9 inches of rain between now and Friday. 9 inches of rain. Are you blanking kidding me? So I would say, Ropes, to your question, a long answer to a short question. Friday, and this is really going to be a test for the grounds crew at the Battery. So Friday morning, 11 o'clock, it's going to have winds in the 20-mile-an-hour range as Helene will have blown through. Hopefully that will dry things off. And we're playing. Don't know about power. And don't know about all the other associated things. Roads, needing them cleared, DOT. So let's say this. The power companies and the departments of transportation here in the southeastern United States are going to get their workout. But as of right now, a lot of coaches are going to keep their games on Friday. The ones that are scheduled for Thursday because of venue compression, they're sliding theirs to today. So keep an eye on your favorite high school. Their game might be today. If it was originally scheduled for tomorrow, it might actually be today. No, I'm not signing in as that. Come on, people. It's like you duck out, and it's like, enter the password, signing in. Thank you. Checking my phone. Yes, I'm approving the sign-in on the authenticator. Yes, it's me. Yes, it's me. Here's my thumbprint. Stay signed in. Yes. Good Lord. I'm trying to see just how many games had shifted to today. And So it appears, that's nice. Lounge schools are closing Thursday and Friday. All after school activities are postponed, including Lowndes and Colquitt. So that means, I think, that game, which is a big one in Region 1, that one might get changed over to Saturday. That's the big thing that they were looking for. So games changed over to today. There's a lot. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 games shifted to today. And all of them except for Gainesville at Johns Creek, Tri-Cities and Lakeside, and this is a venue issue, and Tucker and Northview is a venue issue. All the others are either Central Georgia or South Georgia that were scheduled for Thursday and have been moved to today. There are now only 7 games on Thursday, and those were either combinations of feeling safe enough in your venue or sliding it forward because of Friday and not knowing if you're going to have power. There's a lot of games on Friday is traditional, and then you have 3 right now on Saturday, and those are all out-of-state teams that are either inbound or outbound. So that's where we are with your high school football down here and things shifting over. Alex, this is absolutely true. Alex, discussing bagels. A fresh New York City cinnamon and raisin bagel is elite. And I don't even love bagels. I love a good cinnamon. I'm not a guy that's going to sit there and chase after a bagel. If they're available to me, then, I'll probably put a boatload of cream cheese on it. But yes, a cinnamon and raisin bagel, I'm never going to turn down. I'm never going to turn that down. Or a blueberry bagel either. Of course, I'm sure that I probably have just bastardized the idea of getting a bagel. But no, cinnamon and raisin bagel, right there with you. Abby's like, the only ones I don't eat are everything, onion, and poppy. I said, poppy, you get stuff stuck between your teeth. Onion, I just don't like, talking to folks after the fact. And Abby is heading south on Saturday to see the parental units. Going to try and get a little Havana. Just make sure that you can go and do something and avoid all of the traffic. There is a story involving Fort Lauderdale United in the Super League that we need to investigate a little more. There's word out there about some things, and they're not good. So we'll keep an eye on that. The story's out there, but we don't know the full extent. Morning ropes, Abby, true. Need to put the voting link locked to the top of the X page or put it in our ID maybe so we can vote and or share. Me and technology. I'm going to defer to Maddie and Jason. 8 to 12 inches just from Helene. Today's low pressure system, expecting another 2 to 4. That's why we're under a flood watch. So 10 to 16 inches. Abby's saying the Braves will not be playing tonight or tomorrow. Weather much improved by, I can't do a sweet bagel. Absolutely true. So that's the rundown of bagels down here. Yeah, give me a good cinnamon. Oh man, see now cinnamon raisin bagel. Now you're getting me all hungry all of a sudden. Okay. So that's the rundown of all that. We got like I said, we have the other matches tonight in the United States. We mentioned we mentioned the Open Cup numbers and mentioned what's going on in. So is that a Central or a South America? Or let's see, Can Champ. I guess that's a Canadian thing. Specifically. So Can Champ numbers. Vancouver, big favorite at home, minus 154. Toronto is a plus 347, draws a plus 287, and I think the winner of this one gets into the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. And then that's Can Champ. That is, let me see what the numbers are. Central and South America. Central and South America? Where's the frickin' North and Central America? There we go. CONCACAF Central American Cup is going on right now, and that has nothing to do with what I wanted to look at for tonight. Campeones Cup. That's what we're staring at. All right. Crew plus 125. Club America plus 179. 90-minute draws a plus 252. So Crew favored at home, no real surprise. Chance for Wilford Nancy and Crew to come out with another title, even though that they have already qualified for anything and everything. All right. So Wiley, morning Wiley, by the way, used to love the Asiago with jalapeno cream cheese from Einstein's, and then he found out he was celiac. Yikes. And so Tom's like, give me all your everything. and cinnamon and raisin or blueberry or any of that other sweet ish. Okay. See, I'm the other way. I'm the other way. Give me a good bagel that's got the sweet stuff in it, and I'm good to go. Okay. Let's get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, everything else that's going on, all the news of the morning. And there are a couple of things involving retirements and interesting pieces of news. Rafa Varane has announced his retirement at the age of 31, and that was an interesting thing to come across the wires this morning, that Rafa Varane is retiring at the age of 31. And with Varane, it is retired from football, suffering a knee injury on his debut with Como. 31-year-old central defender joined the side this summer, played 20 minutes for the club in a Coppa Italia match before being substituted off. And so left United at the end of his contract, 95 appearances across 3 seasons, known for his spell at Real Madrid. Social media statement with him holding a trophy over his head. He has all good things must come to an end and no regrets over his career. So Rafa Varane with a shock retirement at the age of 31. Kylian Mbappe has suffered a thigh injury that could reportedly have him miss 3 weeks with the Atletico clash and Champions League coming up for Real Madrid. So keep an eye on that. This would have been opening kickoff if we didn't have things to talk about involving Football Content Awards. The team that left Wimbledon, that I don't mention by name, and I laugh at because of how Wimbledon, and there's Wimbledon news coming up in a bit, that I don't mention by name because they're a bunch of carpetbaggers. They left to go like 60 miles outside of Wimbledon to their new shiny stadium of 30,000 plus, and they can't make up their mind what league they want to be in. That manager that club is set to appoint a manager, and he led Crawley Town to promotion from League Two playoffs last term, going up with Wrexham and Stockport County. And that club lost their original manager to League Two rivals Carlisle last week after their start to the campaign. So missing out on promotion after a playoff semifinal, the team that is currently the Carpetbaggers, they sit 19th in League Two. So you had a team lose a manager, dude goes over. So this is like the third team having to deal with this. So team loses a manager in League Two. League One manager decides, yeah, I'm going to slide over. And then another manager says, yeah, I'll take over that gig. And so the Carpetbaggers are currently needing a manager. TalkSport understands that that the manager in question is set to drop back down to the 4th tier to guide the Carpetbaggers back up the table. Crawley and that club have struck an agreement, which is expected to be announced today. Crawley is 18th in League One. And then he was asked about the takeover, blah, 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 blah. So be it. Fine. You want to grab a manager wants to make the point that, yeah, I think I'll drop a division. Sure thing. You go for it, sir. And enjoy life with the Carpetbaggers. All right. So other news this morning, we mentioned the injuries to Mbappe, and we mentioned what's going on with Rafa Varane. You got a couple of Leagues Cup matches. The sinkhole chaos with AFC Wimbledon once again. Man, that's ugly. That is an ugly sinkhole. Literally, it does look like somebody tried to do a Robert Trent Jones project and did it in the near corner flag at Plough Lane. Forced the League Two match to be postponed. Club unable to find an alternative venue in time. Heavy flooding earlier in the week. And now Tuesday, October 1st, will be the date for the Newcastle, the Newcastle League Cup match. And made it look more like a golf course, sandy bunkers, and a football ground. And I mean, damn, that's just it. Literally, it looks like 3 3 to 4 inches just kicked up. More than 100,000 liters of water pumped out of plow lane this week after buildings and concourses left underwater. The GoFundMe of 50,000 pounds cleared it in a heartbeat. And then Newcastle's already chipped in too. Let's see. So announcement by the club, and it didn't go down. Club's managing director woke up to images from his stadium, thought it was artificial intelligence. 27,000 pitch has significant damage, filled 4 tankers, 27,000 liters each. So 108. And so they do have a video up of before and after when the flood was there. So the River Wandle broke its banks. Next scheduled home match is Carlisle on October 12. So my Dons, we got some work to do. So we're going to keep an eye on all of that. Chelsea beat Barrow yesterday with a 400 million pound B team, beating non-league Barrow, by the way. And so they advanced in League Cup. Did you see this? And this might have also been opening kickoff. A Leicester City fan was tackled by a player as he attempted to confront Steve Cooper. And so Leicester needed to go to penalties to beat Walsall after the supporters had turned on Steve Cooper. Walsall's David Okagbue took it upon himself to stop the pitch invader, who apparently wanted a piece of Steve Cooper. He escaped a confrontation. Okagbue is a Walsall defender, entered the pitch 16 minutes from time, looked to make his way over to Cooper. And Cooper said he'd been subjected to chants of "this is embarrassing" earlier in the match as they struggled to overcome their League Two opponents. The fan who gestured toward the visiting dugout as he ran onto the pitch was apprehended by stewards. And there is video of that from Twitter where someone was running and Okagbue just got right in his way. So Leicester eventually would go 3-0 in penalties and they would win. Cooper after the match, quote, "That's fine. You have to build a bit of credit with the supporters. They'll only make me work even harder. I'll never have a problem with fans' opinions and reactions because they're entitled to that." And he admits they do have to play better. "I won't be hiding away from chance. No problem with it. And I'm even more committed to that now than I have been before, even that it was at its maximum." And asked about the pitch invader, he said, "I didn't really see it. Obviously heard the chanting in the crowd, and I'll own that." Leicester struggled throughout the match, and the away fans chanted, "Cooper, Cooper, sort it out." He signed a 3-year deal at Leicester in the summer. They're 15th in the Premier League. They have yet to win a match following their promotion from the Championship. And so pitch invaders, yay. And so Derby's owner is seeking new investors to consolidate their place in the Championship. David Clowes is looking for a financial injection to get them to the next level, selling up to 80% of his shareholding to a serious and proper party. But he intends to remain as chair if any deals agreed. I don't quite think that's how this works. You can't just say, "Yeah, I want to stay as chair even if I want to sell up to 80% of my shares." Clowes has held talks with a number of interested groups from around the world since he saved the club from liquidation back in 2022. Derby's not in negotiations with any party at this stage. The return to the Championship has sparked a renewed wave of interest from potential investors. So that is that's one of the overseas news sources that we're going to stare at. Let's see. Official grapple with legal issues beyond the Man City case. And so Paul McInnes over at The Guardian, Premier League execs are gathering tomorrow once again, because remember the arbitration hearing that was separate from the 6-week tribunal that is going on to answer the 130 breaches. That was decided. So tomorrow will be the first time that Premier League execs get together after the arbitration hearing was done. So the trial of the century this week is still ongoing. You have that going on. And there is some anticipation that the results of the second claim could be shared, the arbitration hearing, with clubs at the meeting in central London. And once again, we talked about the idea of associated party transactions and all that kind of stuff. So will that be brought to the fore tomorrow at the meeting with Premier League folks? That is, that's the big issue. Olivier Giroud from Joseph Dippolito. Welcome to Major League Soccer. And so Aaron Long was asked about him, the way he takes care of his body, the way he approaches training, approaches games, talks to his teammates in training. Cherundolo appreciates what he calls Giroud's soft skills in and around the locker room. things you don't maybe expect if you just watch him on TV. So it's John Thorrington gets to talk about Cherundolo. I mean, about LAFC and Giroux, and Cherundolo talks about LAFC and Giroux. And so Giroux arrives. He says, there's so much different here, but I love the lifestyle. My kids have the opportunity to play football and go swimming after school. I'm lucky enough to have a swimming pool at home. Put together some goals so they can play football. Very sociable, like to meet people. I already have a few friends living in LA, so the adaptation was quite quick. Plus, I have some Frenchies, some guys who can speak French. And he talked to Zlatan apparently about it. When I told him I wanted to play for LAFC, he told me, in MLS, you will enjoy it. It's a good championship for the strikers, sometimes more open spaces and can have chance to score goals. He was happy for me because he really enjoyed his years in MLS. Because remember, Zlatan conquered Major League Soccer. And so Giroux was asked about it. He said the travel challenges the intensity because travel is massive. In Europe, when you travel in Champions League, for example, the longest flight would be 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, apart from playing in Baku for the Europa League final. Here, I've already done 20 hours of flight in a month. So it's important to be even more professional in your recovery, sleeping well, eating well, and doing the treatments you need to be fit. A whole 20 hours of flying in a month. Oh, no. All right, so I'm gonna do some math here. I'm gonna do some math. So the boss, did I write this down on the calendar? Did I? Yeah, okay. So here's the boss in the month of September. Just to let everybody know. Abby, be safe. And I know that everybody's talking about bagels, which is kind of funny. So this month alone, the boss has traveled 4, 6, 8, 12. So she will have traveled 12 hours on a plane alone in travel this month. Does not include driving into work and driving back, which is an hour every day. Be good, Abby. Does not include traveling on the weekends to go see her favorite football club. And next month it does not include the travel to the West Coast and back, which is 8 on a trip. Giroux has traveled 20 hours in a month. Woo! Congratulations. Welcome to Major League Soccer. Everybody's sitting there overseas. Oh, these trips. Fans, they're like, oh, it's 4 hours on a train. Bruh, you ain't been to Major League Soccer. You ain't been to Major League Soccer flying from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta to Fort Lauderdale to New York City and back. You haven't had road trips in Major League Soccer, Europe fan. 20 hours in a month. Holy ish, sir. Welcome to Major League Soccer. I feel like I should have like the the voice of death. Cut that truck. Welcome to Major League Soccer. Something like that. We'll get through all the other news of the morning and then get you out of here with gossip, rumor, and innuendo as we go. Rodri injury is confirmed, set to be ruled out for a long, long time, according to Pep Guardiola. But how long is a long, long time? We don't know. And then what do you do to fill out Rodri's slot on the roster? That's going to be the interesting part. Is it once again Ilkay Gundogan? Do you have John Stones move up as a part of it? So that's that will be the big question. The Mosqueda injury for Wolves, Yerson Mosqueda, he's out for the season with his knee injury. So that's a bad set of news for Gary O'Neill, and with what is going on in Wolves country at the Molineux. All right, so gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and then let you know what's going on, where to watch, how to watch it, and go. All right, gossip today. Arsenal are eyeing a move for Dusan Vlahovic, planning to move to sign him from Juve. Real holding interest in William Saliba. Arsenal have no intention to negotiate a sale. Manchester United monitoring Eddie Howe's situation at Newcastle amid doubt of his long-term future. Barca sporting director Deco looking at a move for Aston Villa's Jean Duran. Remember, he was just with Chicago Fire a year ago. Brentford and Fulham interested in Newcastle's Callum Wilson. 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Manchester City looking at a list in the winter window. Real Sociedad's Martin Zubamendi. Nicolo Barella of Inter Milan. Atalanta's Ederson and Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton. Liverpool have identified Crystal Palace's Mark Gahey as a long-term successor to Virgil van Dijk. Mudryk at Chelsea is moving closer to leaving Chelsea in January. Manchester United considered a move for Ivan Toney before the move to Al Ahly didn't fit the profile desired by Ten Hag. United remain interested in signing Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig. Rafa Varane, we mentioned him this morning. PSG have cooled their interest in Joshua Kimmich. Everton, prospective owner Dan Friedkin will make the deciding future of Sean Dyche one of his first acts at Goodison Park. Talks over a new deal currently on hold. Gareth Southgate prepared to reject offers and hold out for the Manchester United job should Erik Ten Hag be in danger of being sacked. We talked about Wojciech Szczesny possibly willing to come out of retirement to go to Barcelona to help them out after the Marc-Andre ter Stegen injury. And Enzo Zidane has decided to retire at the age of 29 after having been without a club since leaving Fuenlabrada in 2023. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, courtesy of our friends at Soccer America. And I will make a point to figure out how to have folks vote for what's going on with the Football Content Awards. A lot of college. Very, very light day today. DAZN has Women's Champions League. Lyon Benfica 145, Chelsea Ajax at 4. Lanús and Union Santa Fe in the Copa de la Liga. Paramount Plus at 8:30. You can also watch all that stuff on Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps out the network, helps out the show, and adds to your true degenerate nature of watching everything. Columbus Club America is on 2 season pass at 7:30. Vancouver and Toronto is at BC Place at 10 Eastern. Free side of Apple TV has the Open Cup final, LAFC and Sporting Kansas City. So that is what's going on a Wall Pass Wednesday. Tomorrow, wide open hour number 1. So we'll go over the news of the morning, let you know what's going on. Hour number 2 is the Power Hour. Nino and Nico, 10 and 10:30 as we go through everything and start previewing everything, getting you ready for the weekend and the run-in in Major League Soccer. Thanks to Dylan, thanks to Tyler, and thanks to you for dropping by as you always do here on the show. Back in a little less than 22, we'll go over everything in the world of soccer. So for everybody here at SDH, who, by the way, we're up for a Football Content Award. Vote, 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 and tell your friends, and I'll post it in the Discord too. So you have until October 13th to help us grab the stone, put it in the slingshot, name after the biggins. So there we go. Once again, for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by. Time to whistle us out so we can be back at it again tomorrow, and we'll talk about the same kind of stuff.